What if the fate of an entire nation rested on the courage of one young woman? What if speaking just one sentence could cost you your life? In the ancient Persian Empire, a powerful king ruled over 127 provinces, stretching from India to Ethiopia. In that vast kingdom, a secret plan was formed. A plan to destroy every Jewish man, woman, and child. But hidden inside the royal palace was a young orphan girl. She was unknown, she was powerless, she was invisible, until the day she became Queen Esther. Tonight we will uncover one of the most breathtaking stories ever recorded in the Bible. A story of courage, a story of faith, a story where God moves behind the scenes. So stay with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this story, you may discover that you too were placed where you are, for such a time as this. Long ago, in the mighty Persian Empire, there ruled a king named Ahasuerus. His kingdom was vast and powerful, stretching across 127 provinces. To display his wealth and glory, the king held a grand feast lasting 180 days. The palace was decorated with white and blue curtains, marble pillars, golden couches, and royal wine flowing endlessly. But during this celebration, the king made a request that would change history. He ordered that Queen Vashti be brought before the guests so that everyone could admire her beauty. Vashti. But Queen Vashti refused. In the culture of that time, refusing the king's command was unthinkable. The king burned with anger. His advisors warned that if the queen's rebellion went unpunished, women throughout the empire might also rebel against their husbands. So the king made a decree. Queen Vashti would be removed from her royal position forever, and a search would begin across the empire to find a new queen. Far away from the palace lived a young Jewish girl named Esther. She had lost both her parents. She was raised by her cousin Mordecai, a wise and faithful man. When the king's officers began searching the empire for beautiful young women to bring to the palace, Esther was among those taken. She entered the royal court along with many other women. For 12 months they were prepared with perfumes, oils, and beauty treatments before appearing before the king. But Esther had something greater than beauty. She had grace, humility, and wisdom. And when the king saw her, he was captivated. Out of all the women in the empire, Esther became the new queen of Persia. Yet there was one secret she kept hidden. The king did not know that Esther was Jewish. Meanwhile, in the palace lived a powerful official named Haman. The king promoted him above all other officials. Everyone in the kingdom was commanded to bow before Haman, everyone except Mordecai. Because Mordecai refused to bow, this enraged Haman. But instead of punishing Mordecai alone, Haman devised a wicked plan. He convinced the king that there was a group of people in the empire who followed different laws and should be destroyed. The king, not knowing these people were the Jews, gave Haman authority. A decree was written. On a certain day, every Jewish man, woman, and child in the empire would be killed. When Mordecai learned of the decree, he tore his clothes and cried out in grief. Word reached Queen Esther. Through a messenger, Mordecai sent her a message that would echo through history. Do not think that because you are in the king's palace you will escape. If you remain silent, deliverance will arise from somewhere else. But who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? These words shook Esther's heart. But approaching the king without being invited could mean death. Yet Esther made a decision. Tell everyone to fast for 3 days. Then I will go to the king, and if I perish, I perish. After 3 days of fasting, Esther put on her royal robes and approached the throne room. The king sat on his throne. If he did not extend his golden scepter, she would be executed. Esther stepped forward. The entire room held its breath. Then, the king extended the golden scepter. Esther had found favor. Instead of immediately revealing the plot, Esther invited the king and Haman to a private banquet, then another banquet the next day. Meanwhile, Haman became even more furious when he saw Mordecai still refusing to bow. He ordered a 75-foot gallows to be built. His plan was to hang Mordecai on it. But that night, something unexpected happened. The king could not sleep. He ordered the royal records to be read. And there he discovered something astonishing. Years earlier, Mordecai had saved the king's life by exposing an assassination plot. Yet he had never been rewarded. The next morning, Haman entered the palace to ask permission to execute Mordecai. But before he could speak, the king asked him a question. What should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Thinking the king meant him, Haman described a grand honor: a royal robe, a royal horse, a parade through the city. Then the king said something that shattered Haman's pride. Do this for Mordecai the Jew. Haman was forced to lead Mordecai through the city in honor. At the second banquet, the king asked Esther, "What is your request?" Esther took a deep breath. "My people have been sold to destruction." The king was furious. Who would dare do such a thing? Esther pointed across the room. The enemy is Haman! The king stormed out in anger. When he returned, he saw Haman begging at Esther's couch. The king ordered immediately, "Hang Haman on the gallows he built for Mordecai." And so the wicked plan collapsed. A new decree was written allowing the Jewish people to defend themselves. When the appointed day arrived, the Jews were victorious over their enemies. Mordecai was promoted to the highest position in the kingdom, and the Jewish people celebrated a new festival called Purim. Purim. The story of Esther reminds us that even when God seems silent, He is working behind the scenes. A young orphan became a queen. A hidden plan became a great deliverance. And one brave woman changed history forever. Perhaps you too were placed where you are for such a time as this.